Hello everyone and welcome back to Milo Farms. Well, we're out in the shop today and we are taking a look at this Yamaha RX-1. This is a 2003. It's the RX-1 Mountain Limited Edition. And today we're going to be taking a look at the suspension adjustments on this RX-1. So this particular machine is set up just as the factory settings would be, or the original settings if you look in the manual. You can pull up that manual online if you just do like a Google search and search for Yamaha owner's manual, put in snowmobile, the year and model of what you have, and you can find the owner's manual on there real easy. So the first adjustment here in the front is the front shocks. And for the factory setting, they should be 134.6 millimeters if you measure from this line right here to the bottom of this black ring right here. So if you move the ring down, it'll make the suspension tighter. If you move it up, it'll make it looser. But this particular one is set up just as the factory settings, and we find that the factory settings for us work just fine for what we do. But depending on riding styles, you might want to pick different options. So to make this adjustment, you would use a spanner wrench, and you would loosen the top aluminum nut there. And then you would make the adjustment with the black nut and then tighten it back down and lock it in place. We'll take a look at the tools that you would need to do that here in just a minute. So getting down underneath the snowmobile here, you have the front shock, which the factory setting is right in the middle. You can loosen that up or tighten that up. If you tighten that up, it can cause some rough riding because you feel the bumping of the front of the track over every single bump. If you loosen it, then it will help smooth everything out, but you also don't have as much support. Then you have the limiter strap adjustments here and over here. You would loosen those nuts and adjust to lengthen or shorten the strap. This is the factory setting here. If you wanted to shorten the straps, you could do that for trail riding to put more weight on the skis. If you wanted to lengthen the straps, you can do that for off-trail riding, which also helps there, brings the track out just a little bit. But shortening the straps up, you also lose some suspension travel. So then in the back, you have these transfer rods, which can change the way the rear of the suspension reacts and transfers the weight towards the front of the suspension. Then, underneath here, you have this big, large spring that goes across the top. On the back here is the adjustment. You do that with a spanner wrench as well. And right now it's in the center of the adjustment. You can see right here, if you go tighter, you could do that for a heavier rider or a stiffer ride. If you have a rider that's extremely heavy, you can actually get a heavier duty spring for many models that will support the weight of the heavier rider. When the rider sits on the machine, to know that you have that spring adjusted correctly, this section right here should have equal distance here and here. So you're right in the middle of that transfer section. So this space will get smaller, this space will get larger, and you'll be perfectly in the middle. You could almost put a finger on each side of it. And so if you're sitting like this, you know your spring's too tight and your rider's light. If everything is squished up this way, you know your rider is heavy and you need to make an adjustment to compensate for that. The last adjustment up here is this bolt right here. There's a nut on the opposite side. You would loosen that nut, and then this bolt has a little gear inside of it. So if you twist the bolt, it'll go up or down. The center position is factory. Up or down can compensate for how smooth of a ride, or I guess how quickly it reacts, is my understanding. So like I said, all these adjustments are factory adjustments the way they originally were. We find that works well for us, but you can do whatever works for you on your sled. Now to make these adjustments, there's a couple tools you might need. This little caliper here is handy for adjusting the front shocks, because what you can do is use the piece that's sticking out here, put it up to where the line is, right about there, and then you can go down and see these are just right at the factory setting, 136 millimeters or whatever it was, 134 millimeters. And so that will help with that adjustment. And then the other tool you're going to need is these spanner wrenches. I'll link to this in the description for these wrenches and for the caliper, but these wrenches are very handy. They'll clip right onto here and help you turn those nuts real easy without tearing stuff up. You could also probably substitute a pair of channel locks or a pipe wrench or something like that, but you're just going to make everything look really nasty doing that. So check out these tools if they'd be helpful to you, and hope everybody enjoyed the video. Remember, you can't finish a project without getting started.